Hello, Alex. Welcome to the
Okay.
Marketing Live Jam
Welcome to the Marketing Live Jam, where we give profitable marketing advice in real time.
in real time. So we never know what's coming up.
Absolutely. Well done for the three of you who are early, jumping on early. That's awesome. Yeah, what's been happening in your world today, Ori?
Shaved my head today, just before. I needed to clean up. Obviously, we had another meeting this morning, so you should have
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah.
But that guy, that bobblehead on the right, is has a bit longer hair. So just wanted to make sure
Okay.
it's sharp.
There you go, mate. There you go. It's really good. Today since we have another 3.5 minutes for our little small talk, which is part of our usual routine before we get into it, I'm at my therapist's office. That's why I need to lower my voice a little bit. So I make it quite public to all my friends and family that I am seeing a therapist to work through, many things. We all have problems.
Yeah,
But yeah, we all have problems to work through, and I can't even say even great, like, I can't even say how helpful the
yeah, yeah,
seeing a therapist is to in order for you to become a better person, and
yeah,
in order for you to stay grounded in your emotional health and mental health.
yeah.
Yeah, she said something to me that is so profound, towards the end of our session, which I got a little bit teary.
Yeah.
She said, She said, Alex, you're not a problem to be solved. You are a
Wow,
person to be enjoyed.
wow.
Yeah, and
That is
man,
that is the silver bullet for the whole stream.
that is the silver bullet, because I think in our careers, I'm about to go on a tangent, I guess. In our careers, we're just so focused in problem solving, and that's what we get paid
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
Especially in our consulting, our fractional
yeah,
CMO services and whatnot. And we create all these models and structure, and to do lists and calendar and everything to try and solve. Like, we see ourselves
yeah,
as projects, and we
yeah.
try to bring about a complete solution and create a perfect system and the perfect execution 90-day plan and everything, right? But man,
Yeah.
how liberating it is to hear that from someone that we're not problems to be solved, we are a
Yeah,
person to be enjoyed.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so
it brings the human back, which is always nice, especially in the digital world. It's always
yeah,
attention to. Yeah, wow, that
yeah,
is good.
that
We
is that is the,
Yeah, I like that the stigma that therapy or counseling, etc., is for weak people is kind of breaking down.
mm,
When I grew up in Germany, it's called Seelsorge, and if you translate it, it just means like soul counseling. And it was a very common term in our family that people would
mm,
come over and my parents would do soul counseling.
yeah,
And so I never had the stigma for if you go to therapy or if you see a psychologist or something that you're weak.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and now I think it's a sign of strength that you recognize you're not perfect. And
yeah,
we all, as you said, we all have problems and issues that
mm,
we should address. And
yeah.
so it's good that it's in the public.
Yeah, it is. I am for all of you who are watching. I am a problem, and I'm seeing a therapist.
But we can solve
I
your
have a
marketing
problem.
problems.
Yeah, I have a problem. Anyways, all right. Well, so today is quite a special episode because
Yes.
for a long time we have wanted to bring in live guests, and we've done this a few times before, so that we can actually, the spirit of this show being Marketing Live Jam is that we actually get to do something live together instead of
Yeah.
just hypothesizing and whatnot. So today tell us about who we're bringing on today, and what are we going to do
Yeah. Well,
today.
I will introduce him in just a moment. But it is a friend of one of our dear colleagues called Paul. And yeah, we're super keen to chat to not Paul, but Pete. Pete is jumping on in just a moment. And what we love is just to look at some marketing collateral or talk about marketing without having any preconceived ideas. and then really see where we can take this jam session. And we never know. Are we going to come up with $1 billion idea? Maybe. Are we going to find that one execution that will add the extra 10% of revenue? Maybe. But it is for you to enjoy, for you to interact, and if you are watching, feel free to put things in the comments, and we will always try to incorporate whatever you write down into our live stream. So, without any more from me, let's invite Pete Davidson.
Hello. Hi, Pete.
Hello, Pete.
G'day, how are we going?
Good,
Very well.
good, very well. Thanks for jumping on. Are you hearing and seeing us okay?
Yeah, all good. I'm here for my marketing therapy session. So this is my therapy room. I brought all my junk in the background. That's all my trash to bring to the therapy session.
Love it. Well, marketing problems. Hopefully you have marketing problems that need to be solved, not just marketing problems to enjoy.
What can I do?
Hey, is this who gives a crap in the background, the box that says, "Hey, look what just rolled up"?
Yes, I unfortunately couldn't blur my background today.
I really like this brand, and my wife was looking at buying more products from them, and I was telling her about brand equity because we were comparing Coles toilet paper and Who Gives a Crap toilet paper, and it's like more than twice as expensive.
Yeah.
And but then I was like, hey, this is you buy the brand and you buy the affiliation with the brand. So that was an interesting marketing conversation with my wife that is not really into marketing.
Totally. They wrap each individual toilet roll, so I imagine
it's sort of, and that's what big brands are really good at doing, right? They basically distill an identity in you unconsciously, because now I'm a Who Gives a Crap user, and I feel like I'm doing something meaningful and good for the world, which is what big brands are really, really good at doing. In fact, I had a friend who used to work in the growth department. She's not there anymore. The growth department of Who Gives a Crap, and that's that's basically most of what they do is to really increase that brand equity. And to get people to basically pay double, for toilet paper or for all things, and still feel really, really good about themselves.
Wow.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. Cool. Well, but we're here to talk about not Who Gives a Crap, because we give a crap about you.
Thank you, my therapist.
Yeah, Pete. So, well, I said to Pete before our call, when we do jam sessions like this, we literally do no homework on whoever that we're talking about. So I'm a blank sheet of paper. I haven't checked out your website. I don't even know what you do. You could be $1 billion CEO. I don't know, right? And we're just here to try and find some marketing problems that we can shine a light to. So why don't you give us a little spiel about who you are, and most importantly, what is the number one problem that you solve in business?
Yeah, good question. So I'm starting a toilet paper brand at the moment. No, sorry. I started this business 3 years ago, and I started it out of a need that something that I experienced for myself, and I saw a gap in the process of buying a house. So I'm a buyer's advocate. I'm a real estate advisor, and I help people with the purchase of their property. Now, a lot of buyers advocates or buyers agents Australia-wide, as they're more commonly known, focus on investors, and they sit at their computers and crunch the data and all that. While I can do that, I understand that for investors. My passion is about helping people purchase their home, their first home, their next home. Whether they're an upsizer, downsizer, I really want to focus on my local area and be an area expert. And I'm not shying away, or I'm not afraid of that emotional aspect and that emotional factor, and possibly the length of that process as well, which is possibly more drawn out than for an investor. So we bought our first house about 5 years ago, and feel like we got taken for a ride by the real estate agent and didn't know how to negotiate. Don't know whether we're paying overs or any of that. So got to the end of the process. We bought that house. It ended up serving us like really well. And and it wasn't, in hindsight, a bad decision pulling the trigger on that. But I just
Yeah.
felt so inadequate in the process. And
Mm.
so I thought there's something in this. People need more help. They're making the biggest financial commitment of their life.
That's awesome.
So let's try and help them. And my background has been in non-profits and helping people who are exploited in human trafficking circumstances.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
So my wife's currently in India. She founded a non-profit 12 years ago based in Kolkata, working with girls who've all been through trafficking scenarios. So I try and do what I can do here in Australia to make sure she can keep doing what she does, running a team here and in Kolkata.
Wow.
So our passions have been around people and networking and growing awareness here in Australia through events and markets and all sorts of different ways to try and encourage people and go over and experience it themselves to get a feel for what trafficking really looks like. And she's running an exposure trip for 10 people right now over there. And she's got a team of, I think it's about 11 staff at the moment, and they work with trainees about one-on-one. So
wow,
that's a bit of a mishmash of our life and how we got to where.
Yeah, mate, that's a lot to unpack there. First and foremost, there are two comments and one question, right? And it does feel like a bit of a therapy session. One, I think you are solving a massive problem, and I think you actually play in a very unique market. And I love the fact that you're really clear about your target audience being homeowner or first home buyers, right? Owner occupiers instead of investors. Look, I'm a property investor myself. I understand, for the property investors, it's all about the numbers. They couldn't care less about the bill. They couldn't care less about the, how it looks and how many bedrooms, and all it is just ROI, which is fair, right? Like if you're a property investor. But I love the fact that you are also you're very clear about your target audience, meaning people who has a lot of aspiration to build a life around a home that they can afford and love. And you hit the nail in the head as well, right? This is probably the most expensive item that they would ever purchase in their whole life for most middle class people, right? And you've taken on that that responsibility, to take people on a really good journey, knowing that you came from a not so good experience, and you're really trying to bring change to that industry per se, which is super noble. But what's more noble, the second comment is, you're trying to use this business to fund something that is even bigger, out in India, addressing a trafficking problem and whatnot. Look, both me and Ori come from the church well, and we use the word kingdom business a lot, where we go into the marketplace to make a killing to fund the things that that are close to our heart. I don't know what your religious background is and everything, but it is very, very close to our conscience.
Deep respect.
Yeah, so a lot of respect to what you're trying to build, and it just gives us that extra layer of obligation, I guess, to help you out. So to help you figure out how do you go about helping more people to buy the homes that they love, so that you get paid, fairly, so that you can deploy that capital to go and advance, to solve the bigger problem in India. So super good.
Totally. Yeah, that's awesome. Good to hear about you guys too and your sort of focus. That's unreal.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so I have one question for you in regards to marketing, right? So you've talked about what you do. Like, if you were to help us dial it in a little bit in terms of the number one problem that you help first home buyers to solve, what would they be? I'm not looking for a tagline or some sort of sexy, things that you would say, but just talk to me, verbalize it to me. What would be the number one problem that you're solving in your business to help first home buyers?
First home buyers, yeah. So first home buyers are an interesting one.
Sorry, if I could go back one step. Is this only first home buyers that you're helping, or are you helping
any home buyers? I think
Owning
first
a
home
home buyer.
buyers are probably going to be a harder sell
Yeah, of course.
in one way, but they potentially
Yeah,
need the most help as well. So it's a bit of a
yeah,
catch-22 almost.
yeah,
So
yeah.
owner occupiers is kind of what I'm really focusing
Yep.
on.
Yep.
There's so many things that I see day to day of what people need help with. But I'd say, something that confronts me every time I go out to open homes on a Saturday
Mm,
is the way that people engage with a real estate agent. So they give
mm,
away way too much of their cards. They don't hold their cards close enough to their chest. They give away their
mm,
position. The agents know how to manipulate's one word, or they just know how to extract information from people
mm,
in a way that benefits them and their vendor,
Mm.
but not the buyer. They work 100% for the vendor,
mm.
and they do a really good job at bringing people on side to think that they're working for them as the buyer,
Yeah, yeah,
whereas
yeah,
they
yeah.
have no obligation whatsoever. Their duty, legal duty, is to represent the vendor. So I come in
Yep.
on the other side of the picture, and I'm able to protect their situation.
Mm,
So mitigate all risks in terms of what information they're giving away, their budget, anything else that reveals their personal scenario and where they're
mm,
at, how desperate they might be to buy, or whether they can afford before there's a rate increase, or whether a
mm,
rate cut changes everything for them, or whatever.
mm,
So I protect their situation, and I come in as their 100% representative,
mm,
and I'm able to go and negotiate using my skills
mm.
while also understanding that the vendor is a really important player in the whole piece.
Mm.
And so people often go in and make the mistake of, this is my property purchase. I'll tell you what the terms are. I'll tell you what my purchase price is. And then they
Mm,
miss out. And then next property they miss out. And then the next property they miss out. And all of a
mm.
sudden 12 months have gone past and they're tearing their hair out.
Still don't have
Yeah,
anything.
And so it's
yeah,
understanding what the vendor's needs are as well, and then trying to
yeah,
meet them so that it's a complete win-win.
yeah. Okay.
We
So
went
there's a
tangent.
there's a lot there, right? Now, one of the things in marketing is about clarity, right?
Yep.
What you have said is more about in your expertise, right? The problems that you can see or foresee during the process, right? We use a framework called StoryBrand, where the number one thing is to position our customers as the hero, yes,
Yep.
and then we want to empathize with the problems that they are facing, right? I would probably make the argument that for someone who goes in and buy a house, they don't know the problems that they would be facing, where you can see through right away, right? So we wanted to know that for a home occupier who is looking for the next dream home, right? What are their problems? Okay, what are the problems that they are facing, which you have the perfect solution for?
Yep.
Does that make
So
sense?
yeah. Was that a question? Do you want me
Yes.
to
So,
answer
yep.
that?
So you've told
Yep.
me about um, the problems that you can see as a professional in dealing with the agents and the vendors and so on and so forth, right?
Yep.
But for the hero, who the dream outcome for a hero is, I get the dream home that I want under budget as soon as possible. That would be the dream outcome, right?
Yep. Yep.
What are the factors that are stopping me from getting to that result?
Yeah, I'd say lack of confidence.
Hmm.
So understanding the market is a constant sort of discussion point or question. I literally got off a call half an hour ago with a potential client
Mm,
who was basically seeking that clarity or that confidence on whether, if they were to put an offer in on a certain property, it was
mm.
actually going to be a reasonable one, that they're not overpaying.
Yep. Yep.
Confidence in the
Yep.
market. Yeah.
Yep. So I would probably say they have a certain budget that they need to meet, right? They've allocated a certain budget, and they don't know whether or not by offering that budget am I putting in too much,
Yeah.
or is this not even in the ballpark? How about in terms of the selection of properties? Like usually without you, right? They would be looking online all the time and trying to go for properties that are listed online. So, how about the off-market opportunities, or there's certain areas like, if you're working with a home owner occupier, you know, I would imagine they would be quite picky in terms of location and the size and how many bedrooms and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah,
Um, and some of the problems that they would face is is there is there a dream home out there that I just don't know about, you know would that
totally.
be? Yeah.
And this same person I just got off the phone to just
Mm.
before, they want to buy in an incredibly specific location on the side of a
Mhm.
lake.
Yep.
And so, of a specific lake in a specific spot. So
Yep.
I actually went and door knocked straight after I met them. And so that
Mm.
kind of boldness and understanding that you can actually
Yeah.
do that and
Yep.
talk to all the neighbours and get on site and what it takes
Yep.
to actually find
Mm.
that particular place.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So
So
some,
yeah, some of the problems so we're talking about the problems that they're facing now. Now, without you, right? They have a budget. They don't know what that budget's going to give them. Yeah.
yeah,
They are limited by choice. So they're limited by the choices that they can make, because
access.
the only avenue is to go online.
Yep,
At the same time, they are super specific about the properties that they want and the location and everything, right? So those are the problems that they face, which they can't solve themselves,
that's it,
right? Yeah.
100%.
How does it making them feel?
How does it make them feel? Well, usually it gets increasingly negative as the time goes on as well.
Mm.
So, like the whole miss out, the FOMO factor,
Yes.
that's huge. So again, this particular client missed out on a property 12 months ago, and
Mm.
it's been a real downer for them ever
Oh
since.
yeah, hundred
So the
percent.
whole
So so FOMO is huge, right? Which in marketing we talk about, if we stop talking about people's problems, they'll stop paying attention to you, right? So the concept of you're going to miss out on an next dream home and whatnot, because it's limited supply, and also you're working with a certain budget as well, especially if you're, how many houses around this lake? Maybe 50 or 100 or 150 to choose from, and
yeah,
not everyone's only 1% of those people are even considering selling, right?
exactly.
So what if something is actually on sale and then you miss out on it, right? Like, it's a huge emotional factor that
Mm.
people are facing, right? And then also they would have been disappointed before, or they're in a bit of a rush, like, oh, time is running out, interest rate's going to go up, inflation's going to go up, next thing you know, this house that I want is gone up 15% already. They feel like time is
Totally.
running out, they have to get in now, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a highly emotionally charged buying proposition, which works, and you're smart enough to understand this, which works in your favor 100%, because the more emotional people are, the
Yeah,
more likely they're going to buy, right?
Mm.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
And getting the keys in their hand can often be a conversation point that I use of like, yes, I can try and negotiate my fee or 5% off the price where I think you could negotiate to.
Mm.
But more importantly, I'm going to get the keys in your hand. If we have to pay the right price,
Mm.
That's awesome.
get the keys in your hand. That's what I'm here to do. I'll save you paying overs, but
Yeah,
I may not be able to guarantee I can help you get some incredible unicorn bargain.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, my job is to get the keys in your hand. So if we pay the right price, we pay the right price. But I'm going to do the job for you.
That is so good, right? So,
Without the emotional turmoil.
Exactly.
oh yeah, 100%, right? So that actually brings me to my next question. As we're working through the StoryBrand framework, the hero of the story is your customers. You have clearly defined who your customers are. The home occupiers. We've now shown understanding to the problems in both a physical, tangible sense and also from an emotional sense, right? Now you come in as what we would call the guide of the story. So think of yourself as Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, right? So you with all the magic, you with all the secret sources and all the magical wands and everything, right? And you come in with a perfect solution to the problems. Now you've hit the nail in the head once again, right? These people, they are concerned about the price, but the number one thing that is going to get them across the line is if you can make such promise, get the keys of your dream home within 2 weeks or within 30 days, right? If
Totally.
that becomes your number one selling proposition, your chances are, the inquiries are going to go up, right? Because especially for downsizers, upsizers, and whatnot, where budget is a concern and it is a priority, but is not like a first home buyer. First home buyer only works with a really strict budget, right? But with your upsizers, downsizers, you've got room to move, right? So, but for them, the number one factor is I want to secure this house as soon as possible, and I want to get the keys, and I want to start living my dream life now, right? That's what's going to get them across the line. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. All right. Okay. So this little conversation was more about messaging and finding out a little bit about what you do and how you solve problems. And I think you've got a really clear proposition, or what we would call a really clear brand script already now. I would be interested to know that what are you doing? So from a practical or tactical sense, you've had this business for 3 years. What have you been doing from a marketing point of view or a lead gen point of view for you to move? I know most of your customers would come from referrals and word of mouth and everything, right? That's a given, right? But in terms of actively going to the market and spreading this message and generate some inquiries, what have you been doing? Now, before you do that, Ori, did you have any feedback or comments that you want to make to what we've said in the last 10 minutes?
I just have a question. I obviously know what a mortgage broker is because I bought an apartment a while back, and the mortgage broker didn't charge me anything. So I'm wondering, is this sometimes something that comes up of, oh, I thought you didn't charge for anything, like you work the same way as a mortgage broker does, or how does the charge work? Because obviously that would be a factor as well.
Yeah, so they're paying out of their own pocket. So they
Yeah.
pay a retainer up front to engage my services
Yeah.
at the start.
Yeah.
And I take on the risk for a 6-month period. So if a deal doesn't work out and we're finished up, it's a 6-month authority. So they can't purchase a property outside of my involvement.
Okay.
Then on success, so once the contract has gone unconditional, then I get the remainder of the fee.
Yeah.
So
okay.
that could either be, usually it's a percentage in real estate.
Yeah.
It's a percentage of the sale price.
Okay.
If people want a fixed fee, then I just figure that out with them if they really want a solid figure, so they know how much they're going to pay at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Then I just arrange a figure that's around about that percentage mark anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
okay, cool.
So sorry, just to clarify that, right? So you charge a 6-month retainer, is that right?
I pay a retainer up front. Yep.
A retainer up front, so it's a set fee up front for you to go to work for 6 months, and if you get the property, obviously you'll get the remainder of the balance. And if you don't, if you can't pull it off in 6 months, what happens?
I just keep the retainer. That's it.
Okay.
So I've worked potentially 6 months just for that retainer amount.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's like a deposit, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. Anything else?
So it's different to a broker. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're a broker," and I have to explain. No, I manage.
Okay. Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question as well, Pete? I would imagine not a lot of people understand what a buyer's agent does and even know that you guys exist. Would it be right?
Yeah, particularly. So I'm based around Geelong. particularly around
Okay.
here. Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Melbourne and
So
Sydney, they're pretty prominent, but
yep.
not
Yep.
as much, and it's becoming more
Yeah.
prominent as we move forward.
Okay, sure. So you would okay, so you there is a level of market education that you need to do around Geelong. Would that be right? To basically say to people that there is an option if you're looking to buy your dream home, there is an option available called engaging a buyer's agent
Yeah,
or buyer's
100%.
advocate. Yeah, great. Okay, so tell me about some of the marketing activities that you've been doing, if any.
Yeah. So probably the biggest one for me is I've got another business that I run on the side. I do pool inspections,
Hmm.
and just being in people's houses and talking to them about their property, and they have to get it checked every 4 years, their pool barrier.
Yep.
I ask them if they're going to be there in 4 years' time for their next check. If they say, "Oh no, we might move, we might think of something else," I go, "Bang, here's my
Wow.
here's my other business card."
This is
I
great.
do I do
That is so
advocacy.
smart.
Yeah, so I go from um, Pete's pool inspections to here's my buyer's
Yeah,
advocacy.
yeah, that's
If you
awesome.
need a hand finding your next home, I also do vendor advocacy. So if you need a hand on the
Mm,
sales side, I can help you
okay.
find the right agent. I can interview 3 agents, have them submit their proposals, and have your hand held right through that sale process to
Okay,
help you.
so just clarify that. So in your property business, there's a selling side and a buying side.
Yes, I don't sell myself, as in I
Yeah.
don't sell. Yeah, I don't sell properties, but I help people select the right agent, and they
Do
don't
you
pay
do you
me.
try?
They don't
Okay.
pay me directly, not at all. I
So
negotiate my fee from the
how are you
sales.
going to benefit from it?
I negotiate my fee from the sales agent, so we split the commission.
Okay, got it. Got it.
Uh,
Is
yeah,
okay, so there okay, let's talk about that later. But okay, so I think like your current leveraging off your existing business uh, to basically get a wait list is super smart, right? And then obviously you're in people's home, you get talking, and then you start introducing yourself. Do you keep an active list of people who have said yes to your property side?
yes,
Okay, so you do have a list of like phone numbers and email address and all that sort of stuff.
yep, yep.
Okay. Do you actively communicate to that list in a regular basis?
No,
Okay. Well, that's
I
your
haven't
low
asked.
hanging fruit.
I haven't actually asked for permission for
Mm-hmm.
that to be used for the real estate stuff. It's more
Yeah.
as I'm walking out the door, have a quick conversation, leave the business card,
Yeah.
and then if they show genuine interest, then I'll put them
Mhm.
on my list, and
Yeah.
I'll just email them my info packs within the
Yeah.
first week or
Okay,
two of.
so what you're doing is not wrong, but what I'm trying, okay, so one of the things that we always would want to identify whenever we come to a consulting situation is we want to look for low hanging fruits because we all know you can build a fancy website, you can run Google ads, you can do Meta ads, and you can do all fancy things on social media, right? You can do that. But what's low hanging fruit for you, leveraging what you've already got, right? So, cool strategy in terms of getting into people's houses, getting the interest, sending them an info pack in a sort of manual way. But what will be really more scalable is to actually put them into a database, which you constantly go back to that pool with interesting interesting things to say about the area, who's what's available, and so on and so forth. Because um, chances are for people who initially show interest to your service, to they ultimately wanting to buy something, is 3.5 years later, right? What you really need to want to do is to stay in front of these people constantly so that you become top of mind whenever they're looking to buy,
Yeah,
especially in a market like Geelong where people don't know of your service, right? You just need to become the number one voice in terms of securing your dream home in the next 6 months or in the next 60 days or something, right? So I think that's low hanging fruit opportunity for you right there, to be a little bit more active in
it's
your
good.
database acquisition, right? So, go and subscribe to a whatever CRM, MailChimp or ActiveCampaign, or even do it manually, right? But put that list into put those email addresses and inquiries into a list. It would be small to start with, right? But find a way to communicate to them on a regular basis. So when I say regular, is we're talking about a weekly newsletter or a monthly update or something like that, right? Something that is valuable and also solves their problem, right? No one wants a market update from Geelong, right? They want to see content such as how do if you're looking to buy in a certain area, what kind of money you should be budgeting for, right? Or what are the characteristics of a dream home you should be looking for? And a lot of bling bling stuff, like look at this fancy pool, look at this fancy finish, look at this fancy mansion in Torquay or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of this messaging stuff that we talked about in when we started, what do they want? What problems are you solving? How can you position yourself as a guy to solve that problem? How do you call them to action? You can start rolling them out just to make sure that you're in front of your exact target audience at all times. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Can you just do that straight up, or do you need to ask for people's permission to be on a mailing list?
Absolutely. Well, yes, like diplomatically and also legally, yes, right? And it depends on how you sell it as well, right? And I know sometimes it is an awkward conversation, right? But if you're serious about building this marketing machine so that it becomes a highly profitable business to fund your wife's venture in India, right? I think you are bold enough to ask for permission for someone to get on your mailing list, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So yes. So the answer is yes. You would want to do that. But having said that, though, this is how you can get a little bit more creative, right? Is there something that you can think of, a small gesture that you can offer them, right? So you're interested to selling your home, or sorry, to buy a new home in the next 3 or 4 years or 5, or you don't think you think in the next 4 years you're going to make a move in whatever, right? Can I offer you something in exchange for your email address to go into my mailing list, so that you'll receive a weekly tip or something to buy your dream home or something, right? So it is a small transaction. It doesn't have to be money. It could be, hey, I'll give you this free T-shirt, or I'll give you. You can leverage off your pool thing as well, right? Like if there's a small part, yeah, you can. If there's a small part, you can. Free appraisal, or a small part, or I don't know, like a free 20-minute consultation service or whatever, right? So if I give you this extra perk, can you get on my mailing list for the sake of this perk? Right? Again, I'm all for these little growth hacking things because that doesn't cost you anything. And if you keep building that list to the hundreds and the thousands, that becomes your free advertising avenue, right? Because every time you spend money, every time you advertise on Google, every time you advertise on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that sort of stuff, it's cost per click, right?
Yeah, totally.
And it can become a money pit if you don't execute it well, right? But your mailing list belongs to you. It's your business biggest marketing asset, and you get to advertise to these people anytime, anywhere, with basically, other than the monthly subscription from MailChimp or whatever, is free advertising for you, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I'll start there.
Brilliant.
That's really good.
I just have to jump in. I love the idea of having one business to get the foot into the door, and obviously, have a certain level of revenue, but then using it as a lead or to get the foot into the door for the other business. It's brilliant.
Exactly. It's the perfect upsell.
Motivation for the pool business, because I'm trying to focus all my attention, but I realize it's the biggest lead gen thing that I've got.
Yeah.
So yeah.
100%.
And if they have a pool, you also know that they have a certain level of affluence.
Potentially, there are some dud pools around, but yes.
Yeah.
Most people do. Yeah.
Okay. Now another idea for you. So is the property thing more of a side hustle, or is the pool thing a side hustle?
I'd like the pool thing to be the side hustle and for the
Okay.
real estate to be the main thing, but it's probably 50-50 at the moment. I go flat out with the pools for 3 months a year, basically. I go
Okay.
real hard, busy, and then 9 months I'm back to like a day or two a week.
Yeah, great. Okay.
It's typically how it
Right.
works. Yep.
So another growth hacking thing that you could consider. So definitely that pool thing. Okay, so if I'm thinking funnels, right? You use the pool business to get into people's homes. You ask them the question, do you foresee yourself staying in the same property for the next 4 or 5 years? If the answer is no, then you go, yeah, you give them a business card, you give them the info pack and everything, but you go, hey, can I give you this extra thing for your pool for you to get onto my mailing list for my property stuff, right? And then obviously you got to sell the mailing list a little bit. You go, hey, every week I'm going to send you a tip and blah, blah, all that sort of stuff, right? We can craft that. So that's one funnel, and the proposition is turning your pool business into email addresses onto your database for the real estate stuff, right? That's the only KPI, right? So when you go out and measure it, like over the course of the year, how many pools do you service on a given year?
Oh, that's a good question. It's hundreds and hundreds.
So 300.
Yeah, probably 500.
Okay, 500, right? So you just need to go for a percentage on that, right? So, 500 pools, if you get 10% by like 10% of those people going into your mailing list, that's a massive win already, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so like you want to create some benchmarks around that so that you can actually track it. And obviously, given that you'll be sending regular things, so you're not just putting people in the list for the sake of putting it in. You got to keep adding value, and that's where the rubber hits the road in
Yeah.
regards to activating your messaging and educating people and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, so that's one tactic. I know I'm talking a lot, but when I'm firing all cylinders,
That's good.
okay. The other avenue, which won't cost you anything, and which may be able to bring in business, is you probably want a intentional. You may be already doing that already, right? An intentional referral program or some sort of referral mechanism for the people that you have helped with before.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there a way? So let's say you do a really really good job and you help someone to buy their dream home, and what happens after? So you just shake hands and sing kumbaya, or is there some sort of follow through?
Yeah, crack a little celebratory drink, and then I like to ask people for a referral at key moments in the time that I'm engaged.
Yep.
So, and it doesn't happen every time because I may not be fully on the ball, but ideally
Yeah.
when they sign with me initially, I go, hey, this is great. You've obviously seen value in what I can provide for you, what I can do for you. Do you know anyone else who might be in the same boat who might need my services?
Yeah.
And then say when we sign the contracts, could be a good opportunity.
Okay.
And then
All right.
once we're settled, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's an idea for you, right?
6 months,
Okay.
12 months. Yeah.
I would probably say when you ask the question, do you know anyone? That's a passive question because they know what you're trying to do. You're just trying to get more business out of me, right? You cheesy real estate agent, right? I would go one layer further. Like this is just me totally, thinking blue sky, right? What if you throw a barbecue party at settlement or on the day that they move in, right? And then you go, hey, as part of because I'm so stoked for you to be able to secure your dream home. I know you're gonna, have an amazing life and all that sort of stuff. Why don't my business pays for a housewarming party on the day that you move in? And what I'd like you to do is to invite your friends and family or people that you think would be like, they know, like, once you show gestures like this, they sort of would do the right thing by you as well, right? So like, what does it cost you to throw a barbecue party? Like $300 tops, right?
Yep.
And you're now getting free exposure, to dozens of people, right? There will be people, there will be someone's cousin, there will be kids and all that sort of stuff, right? One, you're showing your brand in a genuine way around the area, right? In Geelong, right? Who, I can't think of any real estate agent who would go down that path to provide such unreasonable hospitality for someone, in a non-transactional way,
I
right?
love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're getting the exposure, you're getting the market, exposure and all that sort of stuff, right? And this is the kind of stuff that companies like Thank You and Who Gives a Crap do really well, right?
Exactly.
So there you go, right? Here's another strategy, right? The upsell, like after you've completed a transaction, blow people's socks off, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll get the benefits from the other side as well.
Brilliant. Yeah. My struggle has been, I've had so many ideas of how to get out to people and whatever. I end up in that analysis paralysis. I watched one of your videos. I know you guys talk about that. So having so many marketing ideas, but I need to actually just focus on just have a structure and go, we're doing
absolutely
email marketing and we're doing a barbecue every settlement.
Just go exactly. That's it, right? That could be your marketing strategy for the rest of the year. If you just execute these two really, really, really well, I'm very hopeful that you're going to get more business out of this.
It's cool. I love it.
And you could even run that all without a website.
Yeah,
it's true.
Exactly.
It's
exactly.
True.
Look, we're a marketing company. We advocate building websites and landing pages and all that sort of stuff, right? But it is the thinking, like, go offline for a while, while you're trying to, even if you, like, by the end of the year, you go 60% property, 40% pool business, you're winning already, right?
Yeah.
And it's good. So excited for you.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. It's unreal.
Yeah. Hey, if you wanna, we'll let you go in a minute. But if you wanna gig this stuff out, like, we can talk offline and maybe put a little plan together to to see how we can go about it. But yeah, if you execute this too really, really well, like, I have every confidence that your real estate business is gonna be, one, it's gonna look very different from the rest of the industry, and secondly, you're not spending a dime on marketing. You're not spending 15 grand on a fancy website. And $3 grand a month on Google AdWords, right?
Totally.
Yeah,
that's great. That's the way I want
it. What a jam!
So, yeah,
right. Yeah.
Hey, any final questions you have for me and Ori, or things that you want to get out of your chest before?
No. So, I probably had one other, I've done a bit of work on my client avatar and who that is.
Go ahead.
Who I want to be targeting, and I've tossed up because I'm doing owner-occupier focus, whether I need to niche it any further. And I actually thought about tradies. So I had these business cards made up.
Okay.
We help tradies buy houses.
Okay.
It's got a QR code to my link tree and all that. And I thought about putting them in a whole bunch of hardware stores if they'd have it, or even go to some trade nights. So I've thought of the idea of, and I even had another mate who said, why don't you go and hire a budget truck for a day and drive around to all the building sites you can find and go and throw ice creams out the door. It's similar to your barbecue idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go and meet the people where they're at and hand out your card, tell them what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because tradies are a normal phase of life to me, potentially, and I like to work with people at a similar stage of life.
Absolutely. I love the idea because it's a niche and that you're going after. My question is, why tradies?
Yeah, because I feel like I'm able to relate to them. I've done a bit of trade sort of stuff in my past life.
Yeah.
And tradies. Yeah, there's a lot of young families around here near where we live. Heaps of trades, a lot of young families. I've got a young family, so similar stage of life. And I think just connecting with people who you obviously have a lot of commonalities with makes some kind of sense. And they potentially have money if they've got their own trade business.
Yeah. Okay.
People looking for
Um,
homes
again,
working.
I like it because it's niche, right? So you're specifically talking to traders. We just probably need to find the sticking point, um, to sort of like, I don't know, like we help hardworking traders buy the dream home or something. Again, I like the idea and all the stuff about, like, ice cream trucks and all that sort of stuff, and you go on job sites, because the good thing about this is where traders hang out, right? And they're around job sites and whatnot, and um, a lot of traders are actually quite cashed up, but they either don't have the time, don't have the expertise, don't have the patience, to sit through it. Um, so I like it, but I think the messaging, I can't think of anything like directly right now, but I think the
Yeah,
messaging can be honed in a little bit to try and attract the right type of tradies that you want, and also give them an avenue to engage with you, because tradies are, most of them are, they just don't talk that language. Do you know what I mean? They're not as sophisticated, I guess, as the middle class, white collar people who can afford a million dollar home and all that. They can afford it, but they don't behave and talk like that, right?
yeah, yeah,
So the connotation of having to engage an agent, and in their mind is all, agents are all suit and tie and all sophisticated BMWs and talk fancy and all that sort of stuff, right? How do we go about lowering that friction to make it really relatable for them, you know?
mm,
So the ice cream trucks is great. Just turning up on job sites is great. Um, Similar to the offer that we had in, like transitioning from your pool business to your real estate business. What can you actually offer them, um, for them to give you an extra layer of trust? Because with traders, it's all about trust,
mm.
right? Um, so yeah, food for thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Just throw that one in the mix.
Yeah, but like if the traffic generation is successful and lots of people are scanning on that QR code, the next question is, what does that landing page look like? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where we need to dial in to, the copywriting and how the landing page looks, right? Because if the QR code just brings you back to a generic homepage, then they're just going to bounce off, right? But if
mm,
there's something really compelling specifically for a tradesperson to go, shut up and take my money, right?
yeah,
That's where the rubber hits the road, right?
yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Awesome. Food for thought.
Love it.
Hey, love to keep chatting offline. I think there are lots of, proposition and opportunities, out of what you're doing. So love to chat offline.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been unreal.
Nice, Pete.
No,
Hey, so nice to meet you, and yeah, keep getting your foot into these pool homeowners.
Yeah,
And
yes,
I think it's a brilliant idea. That's my main takeaway.
yeah.
it's so good. It's so good.
Beauty. Thanks,
Cool.
Alex. Thanks,
Awesome.
Ori. It's
Chat
been
soon.
good. Appreciate it. See ya.
Okay, see you, mate. Cool.
Ah,
That
cool.
was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It one big takeaway for me is that it's so easy to jump to the default marketing activities of, have a website, run some ads, get a lead magnet, and all that stuff. But
Mm,
you can actually save so much money by just spending a bit of time to diagnose what is actually happening, and
absolutely.
what is the logical next step.
Oh yeah,
And I guess
100%.
that's what you pay consultants for. And at the end of the conversation, often it's like, oh yeah, like I could have come up with that, but
Yeah.
you don't, because you don't ask the right questions.
Yeah, absolutely. You need someone asking you the right
Yeah,
questions so that you can actually
yeah,
verbalize and optimize what you've already been
yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
Mate, I would be so stoked if Pete becomes the real estate agent who's known
mm,
for throwing
yeah,
barbecue parties. That would
yeah,
be like, especially for an untapped market like Geelong,
mm,
like that would just be unreal.
yeah,
Like, oh yeah, Pete, he's the barbecue guy. Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so good. Yeah,
The barbecue agent.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a couple of minutes left. I
Mm.
would be interested. No, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but
Mm.
since we've talked a little bit about the landing page idea, like,
Yeah.
okay, let's say Pete does a really good job in attracting tradies who are
Yeah.
interested to buy their home, right?
Yeah.
And they scan that QR code. I would be interested to see if we could deploy the AI right
Yeah.
now, next 5 to 10 minutes,
Yeah.
to try to come up with something half decent, right?
Yeah.
What sort of message are they going to see on that landing page, and how we go about it? What do you
Yeah.
think?
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. And we just set a timer for a few minutes and
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
We have
Okay.
10 minutes for this challenge.
All right. Cool. Okay. Let's let's do it. I'm just gonna bring up my favorite tool, Reloom, and
Yeah.
then we will. All right. You can see this.
Mhm.
Cool. So it's all in the description of the business. So
Mhm.
I'm just gonna call it barbecue property because I like this. Um, so we're gonna call it barbecue property is a buyer's agent
Mhm.
for
Or
trades
just go buyer's agent slash advocate for tradies.
for tradies in the Geelong
Area.
area. Um, we want sections of no, actually, we do this on the homepage. Let's just think about the main problem. And so the service essentially is just help you buy the right house. I really like that the bit when we talked about how he doesn't see the real estate agent as the villain, or like how
Mm.
it's the relationship with the real estate agent is actually quite important. And so
Mm.
as a future homeowner, you can actually very quickly see them as the villain and think they're
Mm.
just trying, you know, or like to you have this term like sleazy real estate agent because you always feel like they're trying, you know, they're not too
Yeah,
honest.
they're always trying to steal something from you, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And they never
yeah.
let you talk to the actual sellers.
Mm.
Okay, so what would you like a high level description? Um,
So they high level description would be they help tradies go okay hardworking tradies to buy the dream home and get the keys. Let's just pick a number within 90 days.
page. Um, one, two.
And we probably want to emphasize because tradies, I got to be really careful about how I word this, right? They
Yeah,
are hardworking. They don't talk fancy. They're practical.
yeah,
Sometimes they are quite simple minded in the most positive way, right?
yeah.
So the thought of having to go through a quote unquote professional process
Mm-hmm.
scares them or frustrates them. Um, from what I know, a lot of tradies are quite cashed up,
Yeah,
so they can actually afford a good home. But again, they don't have because they're hardworking. They're not. A lot of them probably not super computer literate. So even going online and sipping through all the houses and all that sort
yeah,
of stuff would
yeah,
be a tedious process for them. Um, and they want to work with someone who's relatable, understand how trades think and behave, um, and someone that they can trust.
yeah,
And
yeah.
we also understand that a lot is at stake because it is a large amount of money. And we're talking about building a sort of dream lifestyle. So they'll be prepared to invest both money and time, especially if they're raising a family and all that sort of stuff, right? So it is a big call, and they want to. Um, they they like tradies have a reputation of ripping people off, and there is a level of not getting ripped off
Yeah.
in this conversation as well.
Okay. I'm happy with that. I just actually want to rename barbecue to Geelong because I'm concerned that the AI might get confused. Okay, we just need one page. So we are assuming that Pete might have dropped off a business card somewhere or the QR code, and maybe he had a conversation, but we're assuming that somebody lands on the landing page, and we would use this as a tradies landing page, sales landing page to convert interested tradies in buying the first or next home.
And we have precisely 3 minutes left.
Okay. Sections, we obviously hero. The stakes, the solution, the plan, and then the call to action. Okay, let's have a look now. This will generate the copy, but I quickly want to take that because I have found that the copy is actually much better. Copy HTML code in this ChatGPT landing page copy optimizer, and then we'll see what the copy will be. I only have the HTML. Okay, let's put this next to each other.
Nice.
Okay. Your dream. Did it actually adjust? Okay, your dream home awaits tradies. Navigating the property market can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. We make home buying simple, fast, and stress-free so you can focus on what you do best.
Yeah, a bit average.
I think we need to, because what you mentioned before, there's a bit of market education required, that not everyone knows what a buyer's agent is or why they're there. So I think explaining the value proposition of a buyer's agent might be important.
Yeah, but what would the headline be? So your dream home awaits tradies is too vanilla.
Well, it could be, get your dream home in X days.
Yeah. But how does that link to? That's the challenge, right? Like, why tradies is the question, right? What's so special about tradies? Like, so I would use another example. Like, some mortgage brokers specialize in helping self-employed or business owners to get loans, and that's a really clear proposition because a lot of self-employed people can't go to the bank and get a loan, and then you've got brokers who specialize in that. That sort of is relevant and it sort of links perfectly. But how do we find the connection between getting a new dream home with tradies is where we need to problem solve. So
I was thinking something about like making the right decision, because it's so easy to make the wrong decision when you buy property. Well, that's at least a perceived challenge.
Yeah. Look, I think we'll leave it there. But what would be really interesting is if we spend a week thinking about this, next episode when we come back, Pete, if you're still watching, we may be able to come up with a solution or may not, right? Because these things are always up in the air. But if we talk about this a little bit more next week, and we maybe use the use ChatGPT or any AI for us to optimize that copy, I think that would be a really good exercise for us to do.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, all right. Well, before we go, if you're still watching, every week we jump on this Marketing Live Jam. We're more than happy for you. Well, if you've enjoyed our conversation with Pete and coming up with quirky marketing tactics that actually doesn't cost you a lot of money, leave a comment below with your company, your contact details, and then we'll get in touch within 24 hours to bring you on the next episode. And also, if you happen to be in Australia and interested to take a trip to Melbourne in the last week of April, we are running our StoryBrand live workshop once again. So if you wanted to bring up the link so people can sign up to our next intake, that would be absolutely amazing. So 2-day StoryBrand workshop in Melbourne, last week of April. We only take 12 people every intake, and we come back. We did 5 of these workshops last year, tremendous success. This year we come back with better and newer content and amalgamating a lot of AI into the mix as well.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be super fun. And it's going to turn you into a supermarketer in 2 days.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and we will see you next week on Pete's Real Estate Trading Business 2.0.
Awesome.
Have a good week.
Cool. See you soon. See you next week.